like it, I love it, I want some more of it.
Oh man, this is a dining room table for a customer and they absolutely loved it. Using Stone Coat Countertop Epoxy, that's my go-to. I'm mixing up 3 different shades of black, also some chestnut brown mica powder, as well as purple mountain mica powder because the customer wanted some purple thrown in there. So I'm going to start out by putting down a wash coat, and I'm using 1 ounce per square foot. And what that wash coat does is that's basically greasing the surface, and it's really, really important for me anyway to make sure that I not only get epoxy on the top, but also on my edges as well. That way, when I pour the colors on there, everything's going to flow over those edges very evenly. Now here, this is a drawing that I have on my whiteboard that try to help keep me on track as to what the customer wanted as far as the design goes. And I ended up doing a dirty pour. I took those 3 colors of black, also the chestnut brown, and also the purple mountain mica powder. That's what the picture that the customer sent me. But I mixed all those colors together as an exotic pour, and that's taking all those colors individually, pour them into a bucket, and then pouring them out. So I started off with my basic design of kind of how I wanted everything. Now I'm just going to go in and fill in those blank areas. Now, because I'm using an exotic pour, you'll notice I'm not using a tape dam because I'm only using 4 ounces per square foot, and it actually ended up working really, really well. Covered the surface and covered the edges really well.
I like to hear me holler, see me spend my dollar. I wouldn't think of letting them down.
So there's one other really important and really, really cool thing that I ended up doing. I wanted to get some white in there, and I was going to use spray paint on a tongue depressor and kind of run some white veins in there. But what I ended up doing was I took some Rust-Oleum hammered white spray paint, and as I mixed up my exotic pours, and I did those in 16-ounce cups each. But what I did was I just put 2 squirts of that white Rust-Oleum hammered spray paint in the exotic pour when I was pouring those colors together. And what it ended up doing, you can kind of see a little bit of the white outlines in some of those veins, and you'll really be able to see it when I do some close-ups. But man, that just added so much, and I'm going to call that a happy accident because I wasn't expecting that. But it really, really turned out cool. What I also didn't know is by adding the purple and the brown into those 3 shades of black, were those going to show up in the overall design, or were they going to get swallowed up by the black? But as you can see there in the photo, you can see some of the purple peekabooing through there. And I did add some brown in after the fact, so you can see one of those little lines of brown. And then what I did was use my hand to just kind of hand meld some of those areas just to kind of help blend and help soften all of that together. What I'm doing here is making sure my edges are fully coated with all of the colors that I put on the surface. Now I know they're going to flow over evenly as the epoxy starts to flow. So now I'm taking my torch, I'm getting the air bubbles popped out, and I'll torch that a couple times. Probably don't have it all on film here, but I'll torch that probably 2 or 3 times just to make sure I got all of the air bubbles out. But it really, really turned out cool. Here I'm using my hand, and not over the whole entire surface, but just some areas where I felt like it needed to be softened. Then, as long as you're allowing yourself to be patient, just kind of let it flow, let it do its thing, and you'll be amazed at what you can create. But this really, really turned out much, much better than I had anticipated. By creating that exotic pour, that dirty pour, and pouring those colors out the way I did, really, really looks amazing. So I'm really happy with it, and fortunately, this has been installed in the customer's home, and they absolutely loved it as well. So this was really a fun project, and it's the first time I did anything kind of a geode-ish type shape. But, oh, and then I spritzed it with some isopropyl alcohol just to add a little bit of flair. Well, I think it turned out amazing, and, well, you know, life is a song.
Amazing dining room table turned out so well, much better than I could have guessed. With a little purple and brown, chestnut that is, a little black, a little white. Turned out amazing today. And that hammered white spray paint, just putting a couple shots in that dirty pour, man, that just really set that off. I was going to add those white veins in with spray paint, but just by putting a couple shots in that dirty pour really made a difference with that.
And then the next morning I applied a flood coat, and here we go. All right, so it's time to apply the Ultimate Top Coat, and we're going with the Ultimate Top Coat Natural, which is the matte finish. Those are the tools and supplies that you're going to need and what I'm going to use. So I have the surface completely prepped, sanded, wiped down, and then I also go over it with my homemade lint roller to get off any final bits of dust. And now I'm applying the product with a wet roller. And what's so important, and I can't stress this enough, is number one, you want to make sure you get enough material on the surface, but not too much. And then you also want to make sure that you have the surface 100% completely covered. So that's what I'm doing now, is making sure that I have the entire surface covered. Now I'm going to back roll one last time with the wet roller, and see the weight of my roller being on that leading edge. That's because I don't want to leave any heavy lines. And now what Roger's doing, my helper, my dry roller, he's going to go over it one time with the dry roller, and we discovered that that roller bounced. And so that's what we're doing right here, is we're swapping that out, because I already have one de-shedded and ready to go just in case. So now what Roger's doing is, without any pressure whatsoever, just the weight of the roller itself, he's going over the surface, and that picks up just a little bit of material and then also smooths it over one last time. Now, it almost appears like there's some roller hop, I guess is what I would call it, where you can see a lot of those lines. I know from experience that those are going to dry out. So what you're seeing here is a time lapse, and that's about 20 minutes that has time lapsed down into about 20 seconds. See, after it has dried clear, there are no lap lines, no roller marks. And again, that's the importance of making sure you have enough product on the surface that your dry roller is actually able to pick up just a little bit of product. But all those roller hop marks that you saw, everything dried out and really turned out nice. So doing a flyover here, you can see the brown in there, you can see the purple in there. Colors aren't loud, it doesn't look busy, the edges turned out absolutely amazing. This is after getting it installed in the customer's home. And there you can see that it's not bold, it doesn't jump out at you. But boy, what a way to transform a kitchen table from what they had to that is absolutely one of a kind. Really turned out nice. They were extremely happy with it. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and thank you for supporting my channel. Click that subscribe button if you haven't yet. That really helps. Also, please leave me a comment. Tell me what you think, and if you've got a similar project, or if you work with epoxy as well. If you do, order your Stone Coat products on that link right there, and don't forget to put coupon code KCDC for 10% off your next order. Thanks, and we'll see you on the next video.